YouTube, what's going on? We are back with another Throne and Liberty video. In this one, we're going to go ahead and go over the Temple of Slaughter. Now, before we get into the dungeon, let me just point out a couple very key things about this dungeon. And that is going to be the loot, first of all. The loot right here, the Shadow Harvester Grips, it is part of one of the best sets in the game currently. So it's the best in slot gloves for a ton of classes. So keep your eyes out for this drop because it'll be worth about $50 worth of Lucent. As you see, if we go into the auction house right here, if we look up the extract, which is normally the cheaper one, it's down to about 1,000 on these, but 4,000 on the magic evasion. That's pretty crazy. And if these prices aren't to your liking right here, we can also go ahead and go over to the lithographs, which if you guys checked out my previous videos, you'll know exactly how we make these. If we go ahead and type in Shadow, this will narrow it down for us. We'll see the Shadow Harvester Grips are selling for 3,721. And if we look on down at the bottom right here, 161 have sold for 1,000 to 18,887. So these things, they definitely sell. Keep your eye out for this and you might just be able to become rich in no time. Now, other than that, I will say that this is probably one of the more difficult dungeons in the game, so if you are going to do this one, I recommend avoiding party matchmaking, do not do pub groups, and go into the party board, click Temple of Slaughter, and try to find a party from here. The parties on the party board are generally a lot better than the pub groups that you're going to find in the party matchmaking. Now with that said, let's get right into the video. Alright, so for this first phase, it's going to be a DPS phase right here. You want your tank and your healer to stay on the bottom, and you want to have two DPS work their way up to the top as we're doing right here. The reason why you want two is because it's a little bit difficult. If your one DPS misses it, then it's going to wipe the raid immediately. Now, what happens is we're going to hit that up top, run over to one of these chains. Ideally, your teammates should be at each of these statues and pulling those chains for you. And after that, it'll drop water, and it'll stop the boss from doing a raid-wide AoE attack. Now let's go ahead and go over that one more time a little bit slower. We'll go up to the top right here. We'll drop on down, and then keep an eye out for these little statues in the background. They'll light up. Those two light up, so you know you have to get to those two statues. Your teammates, ideally on the bottom, should be right next to that statue and pull it right away. If you don't, you see that little pulse that happened right there? That's going to do a ton of damage to your raid, and you want to avoid that if possible. Now, the other mechanic is going to be this fireball mechanic. As you can see, the tank took an insane amount of damage and died. You make sure that your tank only takes 2 of those fireballs. If they take 3, they will most likely die unless they're a wand sword user. Now, this is going to be the correct way to do this mechanic right here. As you see, there will be a green marker over the target that's going to get fireballed. They're going to get stunned, and your tank has to run in front of him and tank 1, tank 2, and then a DPS or anyone else has to run up and tank the 3rd. As you saw, I was a mage. I don't have a lot of tankiness, but I took that fireball no problem. And now we're going to just go back on to DPSing it. And other than that, you just have to avoid those little poison puddles right there. And that's pretty much the raid. The hardest part in this fight is going to be, as you can see right here, this is how you just tug on that thing so it drops the water. But the most difficult thing is going to be those fireballs. If your tank is not tanking 2 fireballs and then moving out of the way, you're going to die and you're going to end up wiping the raid. So tanks, make sure only take 2 fireballs. DPS and a healer, try to help him out. Otherwise, that 3rd fireball is going to hit that stunned character and kill him. Now, other than that, that's pretty much the whole entire fight. So let's go ahead and go over a full gameplay session of killing the boss. Now, as you see right here, I went up to the top, but I missed that second one. No big deal. My second teammate right there helped me out and was able to grab it. And as you saw, my teammate immediately hooked onto that little chain, so the water fell immediately and we took no damage. Now, once that happens, we can start DPSing as much as we can since the boss will be stunned momentarily. And then we can start just hitting the boss. Now, make sure as the tank, you're always on melee range of the boss. If you start running away from the boss, he'll do a swiping attack and it will stun you. So if you're getting stunned or if he starts jumping around at your teammates, that's because you're losing aggro. So make sure as a tank, you always keep aggro and you're always right on top of that boss. Now other than that, we just keep DPSing until we get to that second phase, which will be the fireball phase. Now, you know the fireball phase will be coming because he'll be shooting that poison, and then someone will get marked. So keep an eye out. Once he starts yelling, someone's about to get marked. That guy right there, Joker, is getting marked. You see he runs back, that way he's far away from all the DPS because this fireball does AoE damage. So 2 fireballs are taken, and then I run up, stay away from everyone else, that way nobody else gets hit by that fireball, and then we're good. Now we completed that second phase, and we just start DPSing, start trying to do as much damage as possible. Again, running away from the fire, running away from the poison, and that's going to be pretty much it. We tug on the little chain again, since our friend went up to the top and hit the thing again, and more water drops, so we go ahead and start DPSing even more. And that's pretty much the whole entire fight, guys. So, in my opinion, this is the more difficult fight out of all of them, but once you learn the mechanics, and if you have a good tank and a good group, this will make the fight a lot more easier. So, like I said, I recommend using the party board. As you see, this guy right here says using the party board was way better for him too. But yeah, that's pretty much the fight, guys. It's a little hard at first, but once you get the mechanics down, it's not that bad. The DPS on this boss is really nice. You kill it really quickly. It's one of my favorite runs, to be honest. One of my favorite dungeons, as long as you got a good tank. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.